Are we streaming? Are we streaming? Streaming. Stroby streaming. Strobity strobing. Welcome to this round of cooking videos. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone had a great 4th. And, alright, let's go.
Ready, let's go. It's Cooking with Jack, put on a tasty show.
Hey, welcome to Seafood Month.
Boy, I love Jack's AI video.
Jack Scalfani here. We are kicking off seafood on the cooking show. We're going places on.
When the hell did he make this? He made this a day ago, so we'll see if he keeps it up.
Jack on the Go. It's going to be all seafood. It's going to be awesome. So, I wasn't going to do this first, but we're in the middle of a heat wave. It is so hot outside, guys. This is perfect for hot. I thought, okay, well, later on in the month, I think we'll move this recipe up because it really goes good with the heat. Nice cold salad. Seafood salad it is. A simple list of ingredients.
Well, it's not exactly a seafood salad. Like, there's lobster salad, which primarily has lobster meat in it. There's crab salad, which primarily has crab. There's shrimp salad, which primarily has shrimp. There's tuna salad, which primarily has tuna. There's salmon salad, which again primarily has salmon. I mean, unless you just suck and need to throw everything in, there is no seafood salad. Also, outside of the meat, you're not really using any fucking goddamn metrics of the sea in any of these.
Little Old Bay seasoning because it's seafood. We got some crab meat. We got some deveined and shelled shrimp.
All right, I'm going to just go out on a limb and assume that's crab meat and not the imitation crab meat.
Got some mayo, red onion, here's some celery, and some dill. It's gonna be short and sweet, so get ready. We're gonna take a little bit of celery. I'm not putting a lot because I'm sharing it with people who don't like celery that much. Okay. Gonna take the cut up crab. You can use imitation if you want. Put that in there. Take the dill. Put that in there.
You're sharing this with people that don't like celery. Jack, I just don't like your fucking cooking.
Okay, red onions, I love. I got a boatload. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I love with my crab salad. A great big old chunk of red onion that I can just chew and chew and chew.
And then let's grab our shrimp. All right, so I'm eyeballing this, guys.
So you bought pre-cooked shrimp that may or may not have been defrosted in the bag. Oh God. Did you even drain it?
You can follow the recipe, but if you like onions, put more. If you like mayonnaise, put more. If you like celery, put more.
Okay, Fiera, you really like to bite into a red onion like an apple? I'm gonna be willing to gamble you don't.
If you like shrimp, that's what I love about these recipes. Nothing holds you back. To give it its tang.
Yeah, we drain meat all the fucking time. When you cook burger, you drain the excess fat off. When you cook bacon, you drain the excess fat off. When you bring shrimp up to temp, you typically leave it in a colander and let it come to room temp in a colander so all the excess water drains off. And again, your fucking god, Jake, is supposed to be so much better at this than me. Yet you don't know basic shit. Alright, whatever.
I'm swapping my lemon juice for a little bit of apple cider vinegar. I like the tang from apple cider vinegar.
Alright, there's nothing wrong with swapping lemon juice for AC, but when it comes to seafood, typically lemon is a better pairing. Also, I know you're a strokey, but how fucking hard is it to cut a lemon in half and fucking squeeze some juice in? Also, too, you could just buy some fucking lemon juice.
All of my fingers. Should be good. You can do black pepper. Today I'm doing white pepper. You can do coarse salt, sea salt, any salt you want. Alright, let's give it a good mix. Okay guys, got it all mixed up. Let's give it a try. Tons of crab meat, tons of shrimp, nice and cold. Oh,
That is not a diced onion. At best, that onion was roughly chopped. Try to pay attention, sweetheart.
you know what?
Daddy doesn't want to spank you.
No, I'll see you in an hour. I'm gonna throw this in the refrigerator and cool it first. Give it a good chill. Then I'll try it out. All right, let's get the perfect bite here. Here we go.
What the fuck is that? You have onions the size of goddamn Cleveland. You have shrimp, and he's not even. Oh, God, what a fucking disaster. He'll say it's great.
Okay, so this is really good.
Yeah, of course it is, according to you, Jack, because to get you to admit defeat is like me pulling teeth.
I forgot how much I like Hellman's. Wow. Another one?
Yeah. I don't know what this GM thing is, but, yeah. Unless it's global mismanagement. Again, that is the worst goddamn seafood salad I've ever seen. I mean, how many fucking problems did it have? I mean, he couldn't even dice his vegetables properly. Which, again, if you don't want to dick around with it, can just be done by a fucking chopper.
The first page in our taco manual takes us to an iconic recipe for barbacoa. Now, if you don't know what barbacoa
Again, is this your house or is this a B&B?
is, I wish I could take you to Mexico City to El Hidalguense or maybe Arroyo, or even better, I would take you down into the southern state of Oaxaca to one of my favorite barbacoa restaurants called La Capilla. But I can't. So I'm going to show you how to get to that beautiful, tender meat falling off the bone, infused.
Oh, Fiera, you know I don't like it when good girls get tattoos. Do you just want Daddy to give you a spanking?
With classic Mexican flavor using a slow cooker. Yeah, and it actually is incredibly good. You don't have to build a pit in your backyard. You just need to have a slow cooker. And
Yeah, but a pit is, one, not that hard to make. Two, smokers are available at every goddamn Home Depot. Three, the product is much better, but I suppose four, if you just want to be lazy, by all means, just do it in the goddamn slow cooker.
instead of using the traditional lamb or goat that you might find in central or southern Mexico, I'm going to show you how to make it with beef short ribs. Now, why short ribs and not like a chuck roast, which you could use if you wanted to? Because the short rib.
Well, of course, Daddy's crazy to you because you've never had this thing called testosterone running through your veins. Oh, God. This pathetic pile of shit.
Rib has this incredibly magical texture. And it reminds me more of what I get out of those beautiful pits in central and southern Mexico than just using a regular chuck roast. So I have put together 4.
Yeah. Mm. Oh, it's you.
Mr. Al, why?
And a half, about 4.5 pounds about of beautiful short ribs. Now I'm working with a slow cooker here that has an insert that is usable on the stove top. That's why I'm always telling everybody you gotta get one that has that.
Son of a bitch! My slow cooker insert can be used on the stovetop?
Stovetop safe insert. I put it directly over the fire there, and I'm going to start heating it up because my first step here is going to be
Motherfucker, I didn't know that!
to brown them. Now, in a classic Mexican barbacoa done in a wood-fired pit in the ground, they don't do the browning step because they're putting it into this very, very hot pit and it starts to brown sort of instantly. But for our slow cooker version, we have to actually create that browned quality to give depth of flavor to what we're doing here. So first thing is to put a little bit of oil in this slow cooker. If your slow cooker does not have a stovetop safe insert, then you'll need to do
I'll have to check if my slow cooker has a stovetop safe insert. Son of a bitch!
this in a large skillet. I would prefer a 12-inch cast iron pan because it holds heat and you can get a really good sear on things. Next thing I'm going to do is to sprinkle some salt evenly over the short ribs here. And this will take a little more than what you might expect when you're seasoning meat. You always want to get that on there. Then a couple at a time, I'm going to lay these guys into this pan and start to sear them, turning them until they are completely browned on all sides. Once those are browned, I'll take them out and store them over here and then brown the other two. But in the meantime, I'm going to make a classic adobo, red chili marinade that they use in Oaxaca for their barbacoa. So we're going to start with 2 dried chilies. Now, if dried chilies seem to be like completely out of your purview, I'm going to suggest that you go online and buy these, or go to a Mexican grocery store, or perhaps your regular grocery store sells the whole chili pods. Much better flavor than what you would get out of a ground chili powder. Now, this is an ancho chili. I'm using a couple of these guys. You just tear them open, pull off the stem end of it, and shake out all of the seeds. And then I'm going to tear them up and put them into a blender jar. So these things are they're kind of leathery feeling, and you'll have to tear them.
Or you could just get fresh peppers.
I would say into about 4 pieces each. This is a slightly smaller of the ancho chilies, so it'll be easier for me to tear up here. And I'll do it in about 3 pieces there. Throw those in. These are guajillo chilies. They already have the stem torn off of them. So I'm just going to open them up like this. Sometimes you'll see them this way in the store. And then these are thin-skinned and not so leathery as the ancho chilies are. And they add a very bright flavor. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm combining the two. That has to do with the fact that these have really bright flavor. The anchos have a sweeter flavor. Are either one of them very hot? No. This is not going to come out as a very hot dish, but it's going to be one that is...
Well, heat level is in the eye of the beholder, my friend. I have a friend that thinks mild taco sauce is spicy. Yeah, he's fucking impossible to cook for.
Full of flavor. Now, the next thing that I'm going to add is kind of hot. I'm going to add a couple of these chipotle chilies to the mix here. And those are going to be smoky, slightly sweet.
Yeah, I've given up. It's Chipotle. I don't give a shit.
Heat and medium hot. I have 4 garlic cloves just peeled. Throw those guys in there. I need a couple of tablespoons of vinegar. Some people like it a little bit more tangy than the 2 tablespoons will give you, but that's what I'm going to be.
Can you please specify what type of vinegar are you using? I'm assuming from the bottle it's white wine vinegar, but it could be white sherry vinegar or white malt vinegar. But could you at least specify that, sweetheart?
Putting in mine today. I need a full teaspoon of salt that's going to go in here. And that's a measured amount. We're not tasting this. We're just starting off here with that 1 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to put in about a half a teaspoon of Mexican oregano, about a half a teaspoon of ground Mexican cinnamon. You can use any kind of cinnamon here, but Mexican cinnamon is a slightly different flavor and variety. And then the last thing that we have is some black pepper, about a half a teaspoon of that. I like spices that are ground fresh, so I've got a little mortar over here, Mexican molcajete.
Why would you grind the pepper if you're gonna put it in the fucking blender? Because the blender is just gonna pulverize it. Why wouldn't you bust this shit open in the blend? Fuck it, who cares?
And I'm just gonna crush these black peppercorns up and then add those to the blender jar. 2 cups of water go in here. And we're going to blend this as absolutely smooth as possible.
Again, why would you grind the pepper?
Want 50 grams of protein in 1 meal with 0 cooking? Then you want Factor. Honestly, Factor finally made eating healthy feel doable for me. Before, staying consistent was the hardest part. With Factor,
These are beautifully browned now on all sides. And we've got the marinade beautifully blended until it's very smooth. I'm going to turn this off. And I don't really need all of this fat that's in here. There's been a bunch that's rendered from the short ribs here. So I'm just going to tip this off over here if I can get it held right. Just so that I can start with a slow cooker that basically just has a very little bit.
Wait a second. You I have no idea what he's doing.
Of fat in the bottom of it. Now this is the moment that we have to talk about the difference in style between barbacoa in the central part of Mexico and in the southern part in Oaxaca. Number 1, the barbacoa in central Mexico doesn't have this red chili marinade on it that we have made for this. The Oaxacan one does. In the central part of Mexico, they wrap all of the meat before they put it into the pit in agave leaves. Really hard for us to do here in the United States. But in Oaxaca, they use leaves to season this, to flavor it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And what happened to the Oaxacans? Oh, yeah, they were wiped out. Not by us, old Whitey. If we did, we just finished the job. It was another fucking tribe that did it.
That are from the avocado tree. And luckily, online or in your Mexican grocery store, you can buy these beautiful dried avocado leaves. What do they taste like? Cross between, say, a bay leaf and a little something anisey. A little bit of that licorice flavor in there, but it's gentle and it's really, really delicious with the meat. So in the slow cooker base here, I'm going to put, 6 or 7 of these leaves. In Oaxaca, they love this flavor so much that they use a lot of these leaves here. So I'm going to put them down there, half of them down there. And then I will nestle these guys in that are browned now. And then we'll put some more we'll put the marinade over everything. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah, that looks really nice there. We've got our marinade. Last you saw this marinade, it was just starting to blend. Now it is blended till it's incredibly smooth. Now I'm using this Vitamix blender, which is a high-speed blender, and it can blend it absolutely smooth. If your blender doesn't blend very smooth, I suggest that you set a medium mesh strainer over here and just pour it through to catch any of the tough skins that did not get completely blended here. With this blender, I don't really have to take that step. So I'm going to pour the marinade now over the short ribs. They're not submerged, but there's a good amount of marinade there. And we'll put the remaining avocado leaves here over the top. Now you want to make sure that they touch the marinade. They're not just hovering above the marinade, because the moisture is what will start to leach out their beautiful flavor. So there you go with that. We've got the top of the slow cooker to go on. And now all of this will just go into the slow cooker base. We will go on high for, well, you can check it. After 4 hours would be your minimum, but usually it takes 5 to 6 hours for this to cook until that meat will completely fall off the bone. Okay, it's been about 5 hours now, 5 excruciating hours of smelling this deliciousness in the kitchen here. And I think it's ready to go now. We're gonna see all that, release all that beautiful steam. And the really cool thing is that you can smell the avocado leaves. They just add so much different dimension. I would say you get a little of that anise-like smell with them. But they're also sort of just herby, okay? So I'm gonna just get rid of those leaves here. They've done all that they can for the barbacoa. And then I'm gonna take the short ribs out, and they should be fall off the bone tender at this point. You can see how easy they just come right off the bone there. But I want to take them all out because this is the point at which I have to judge what I want to do with this juice, this really, really delicious juice.
We finally moved from California to Minnesota, and it was the best decision we ever made.
Right.
Except for one thing. I'll get to that part in a second because it almost ruined everything. But first, we left Los Angeles last August, and the change was immediate. $3,800 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment in Silver Lake. Now we've got a bigger place in Minneapolis for a fraction of that.
Yeah.
An actual house with a yard, a driveway, space to breathe, groceries cheaper, gas cheaper.
Right.
My wife landed a job offer right here in Minneapolis, and the salary stretches in ways Los Angeles never allowed. Neighbors brought food the first week. In Silver Lake, we lived next to the same people for 4 years, and I couldn't tell you their names. Everyone told us we'd regret leaving California. Honestly, we've never been happier, except for one thing. And it's so ridiculous. I sat there for a full minute just staring at my phone in disbelief. It's the car insurance rate here. Absurd. In California, I was paying $312 a month for 2 cars.
Brutal.
But California brutal,
Yeah.
meaning you've just accepted it as the cost of existing. I called to update our address to our new place off Hennepin Avenue. They put me on hold. Then they said, okay, everything's updated. Your new rate is $389 a month. I said, wait, what?
Yeah.
She said $389 a month.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm paying $312 right now. In Los Angeles, it went up. She said, yes, sir. Minnesota has different rate structures. And the Twin Cities Metro is considered high risk. I literally moved from Los
That is flavored with that red chili marinade. And there's a lot of it in here. And because I want to use this as a taco filling, now if I was just going to do it on a plate, which is absolutely delicious, I would keep this pretty brothy, but for a taco presentation, I want it to be less brothy. I want to have the concentration, shall we say, of these beautiful juices now. So I'm just going to pick up the insert here to the slow cooker and just put it directly over the flame. And there I can just allow that to reduce for a little while. Now you may think that it's a little fatty, and so you may want to skim a little bit of that fat off the top. Let me just show you what that is. I think I'm going to kind of leave it in here but I could just take some of that off like that. And then I could even save this for sauteing some potatoes. It'd be really good for that. Or you could just pitch it if you want to. But I'm going to let this reduce until it started to get some thickness. So I notice a little bit of consistency. It doesn't look so watery. I'm just pulling the meat off of the bones here and shredding it with a fork. You'll probably find right next to the bone a little connective tissue. I usually just get rid of that because it's a little chewier than this absolutely luscious meat here. It's a coarse shred. I don't go very fine with that at all because I think it makes a better taco. It stays in the taco better. So we're gonna put that all here. I don't know if you can hear this reducing juices. I've been going for about a little over 10 minutes now. They're starting to get a little noisier, which means that the liquid has evaporated from them a lot. I'm going to turn this off now. When you hear that sort of more of a sizzling thing, it indicates that a lot of moisture has reduced out of it. So they're noticeably thicker. I want to give these a taste because I have to make sure that the salt is right on it. This is what's really going to give this its final flavor. Okay. Oh, it's so good. So I'm going to just give it a little bit of salt here. I'm going to use a little bit of coarse salt when we make the tacos because I think that that's a really good thing. With the juices here tipped up, I'll just spoon some of them or ladle some of them over the meat. And that's where all of your really, really wonderful flavor will come from here. So I'm going to save, I'm not using all of it here. I'm going to save some of it off to the side. Make sure that the juices are evenly distributed down into the bottom of this gorgeous shredded short rib there. And now let's build a taco. So this is so iconic to me. I think it's just absolutely spectacular to be able to have this long cooked meat with very traditional flavors. And in very traditional Mexican style, we will build these flat on a plate, not trying to make them cupped up or anything. This is what you would find certainly in every taqueria. A little bit of this meat, and for me, this is a joy that should continue for quite some time, meaning that you're not looking to just have 1 or 2 tacos here. So just about 1.5 ounces of meat on each one of them. You got lots of choices here to put as garnishes on it. I like salsa verde on this one. You might like to get some Mexican hot sauce and put that over the top of this. I like them both, really.
Of course you like salsa verde, you pretentious dickhead.
But something like a tamasula would work for that.
Alright. Enough of this. Smoke and grill and AB. Grilled barbecue chicken halves.
You guys how to turn a whole chicken into 2 perfectly seasoned halves that'll cook faster, stay juicier, and soak up every bit of that smoky flavor. I'll be using my sweet barbecue rub, which is available on my website. That's smokingandgrillingwithab.com, and that's WITAB.com. So here it is right here. So if you want to bring the same sweet, savory flavor to your backyard, be sure to grab a bottle. Now that enough talking, let's get it. All right, so what I'm doing now is I got a chimney. I filled it almost to the top. You know, with my charcoal, I'm using Kingsford Original, right? I got a tumbleweed right here. We just get that started. Once that's started, just put this on top and we'll let that start, right? I'm gonna explain all that to you in just 1 second. Okay, folks, so this is what we're finna do. Now I got my chicken, I done already washed it, patted it dry, and then brought it outside, let this air get on it a little bit, and this will get the skin, you know, pretty much, you know, as dry as possible, right? So it's the water that we want to take out of there. I know that sometimes, like you'll see me, I'm gonna get my olive oil and I'm gonna rub it down so that I can have a binder so that when I put my rub on there, that it actually stick. If you don't have my rub, when you go to my website, which is smokingandgrillingwithab.com, you know, that's WITAB.com, right? When you go there, I'll have a, alternative, you know, like, so for those of you guys that don't have it, I'll have you give you guys some options. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So now, chicken is already done. Let's move this over here to this side. I'm gonna turn my chicken. I'm gonna pat this because it's been sitting up a certain way, you know, sitting up the other side. So a lot of the moisture has on the bottom side has got on here. So I still like to get all of this off. All right, so let me explain it a little bit better. This right here is the neck. So the backbone comes this way and it always got this little tail piece back here, right? This is what we're gonna do. You want to get yourself some kitchen shears, or you guys can use, you know, a chef knife. My chef knife is sharp. I feel like a lot of people will probably have kitchen shears, you know what I mean? But I'll do two. So look, this is what I do. I take this and I get on the right side or the left. It depends on which.
Oh, hot dogs. For you, 2 buy for us. I'd love to, because I earn unlimited 2% cash rewards.
Oh, Marty, we're on the celebrity cam.
The Active Cash credit card from Wells Fargo. Terms apply.
Where you want to start. All right, so like I just said, you can go either way, right or the left. You just take your shears and you just go ahead and cut this straight on down. What we doing is we cutting that backbone out, right? Then when we done, you should have a clean cut like this. Right, now we do the same thing on the other side. This time I'm gonna turn it around and I'm gonna come from this way, this angle, and we'll just go ahead and cut. Now, I wanna ask you guys this, what are we gonna do with this whole backbone? What we're gonna do with it is we're gonna put this in a Ziploc bag and we're gonna save this, because when we come time in the fall, when it come time to make these, you know, our stock and all of that, look at this. Yes, sir. Now, you see how we got this open? I'm gonna go back in there and I'm gonna clean some of this out of here, like all of this, these little pieces. I like for everything to be clean. You don't wanna see none of that. All right, so now you guys can see, right? I'm gonna use this. I started using just a paper towel, you know, just to clean up and get all of that out of there. Now, one of the reasons I like to do halves, or what we call spatchcock, is because when this is open like this, it gets to cook, right? You get that smoky flavor up in here instead of trying to like do a whole chicken, right? So now we'll turn this over this way. I just spread them this way and then I look at it and then I'm trying to figure out which way do I want to cut, right? And the only way we do that is you can run your finger down here. It's like a little line down here anyway. That'll be the center, right? So you can take your shears, you just grab them. You want to follow that natural line that it has.
All right, I think this is where I'm gonna end this. Good night, everybody.